Hi guys, it's me, Fly with me FPV, and you've seen the Maiden flights. Well, those are basically compilation or footage that of the flights of the Q-Carbon. They were done, mostly on the same day. But anyways, this frame with this config and components, which I mentioned on the part one of this video series, it is really fast. It's a screamer on 4S, that's what I can say. At 145 grams without battery, this thing is pretty light. So uh, if you're gonna want something that goes fast on the 130 millimeter size, I strongly suggest that you look into this frame. The only thing is that it's kind of tight because of the canopy, but if you could all fit in there, it's all worth it. It is a very very fast 130 millimeter that I've flown. Anyways, let's go to the configuration. Let's start with BL Heli configurator here. I plugged it in the USB, plug in the battery, click read setup, and this is what you get. So on my previous video, I mentioned that this is using a 20 amp BL Heli S SpeedX ESCs, and I initially set this up at 1000 and 2000, but after running the calibration on Betaflight, which we will, do in a few minutes, it changed the values to 10, 12, and 2004. So I'm gonna leave it at like that. I'm not gonna go through the process of changing these values to maximize your throttle input and all that stuff. There's a lot of videos online that could help you do that and understand why those things needs to be done. Joshua Bardwell is a very good YouTube resource or channel that you can check. He has a lot of videos on how to do that. What I would like to point out is that if you are using BL Heli configurator and would you like to flash the firmware on your ESCs, please pay attention to this code or whatever this is. It's a combination of letters and numbers. For so for me, for my SpeedX ESCs, this is what it read. So when I flashed it, I basically chose the same version. This is running 16.65, and this is, I don't know if this is a special version for multi-shot that I downloaded. This came from rcgroups.com. You can easily Google that. But essentially, this is a zip file where you unzip. There's a bunch of hex files here that you can choose depending on the EC that you use. So, anyways, just pay attention to that. Now, I like the Imperial tone, or sorry, Imperial March tone when you plug in the battery. So, in order for you to do that, which is this is all documented when you download this version, is you have to set your beep strength to 91. So that I kind of changed in order for the tone to sound like the Imperial March. Motor timing, some run it at medium high, keep it a medium. I don't see really any difference, or maybe I'm not that good enough to actually notice that, but I'm gonna keep it on medium. So nothing really much here on BL Heli configurator. If your ESCs are BL Heli S, you can plug it into your PC, run BL Heli configurator. All right, so let's jump quickly to Betaflight, and I'll go through each of every what do you call this, tabs of the configuration. So calibrate accelerometer. I do this even before I mount the board on the frame. Can't skip that. Make sure you do that. Ports, if you are going to be using the micro F3 flight controller similar to the Pico BLX, you need to solder your receiver. In my case, I'm using an AC800 and it's on UR3. Serial X S-Bus. Configuration, again, I'm running multi-shot, motor stop. I use two switches basically to arm and one to choose flight modes. I still provision or configure angle mode. I don't use it, but sometimes you'll never know, and you get into a tight situation, you can easily flip it to angle mode, which I will show when we go to the modes tab here. Serial based receiver, you need to set it at that, and if you're going to using S-Bus, and then set it at S-Bus here. Now, minimum throttle, I'm not going to go too deep on this, but this is, for me, this is how I want to spin the motors when the throttle is idle on air mode. That's basically what it is. 8 kilohertz, 2 kilohertz, that's my cycle time there. This is what this is the default that it came with, and I would assume the board can take it. CPU load 16%, still a lot of horsepower to use when you're in flight. I'm pretty sure that's fine. Other than that, I am yeah, pretty happy with the configuration on this page. This I'm kind of interested, but I will probably do another video for this. This is air mode, so basically how I interpret this is depending on, it doesn't matter what flight mode you are, it'll always be an air mode, but I haven't really played with it. PID tuning, very popular page tab, whatever you call it. So for 130s, I go with this, and I just adjust it as I go. If I feel that it needs more P, it needs more D, or I need to tweak. I seldom actually play with RC rate. It's the super rate that I am always changing. So, and this is the value that it gives. Anyways, I don't want to dig too deep on this. This is, in my opinion, a topic that requires a separate video, but there's a lot of resources online to help you with PID tuning. I suggest there's a video done by Schizo, a very popular, freestyle pilot, on how he does his PID tuning. So strongly suggest you check that out. He has is not I would say very scientific, but it's more a feel, which I like better when I'm tuning my quads. Receiver, AC800 again. It's a Frsky Taranis compatible 8-channel receiver. Super small, super light. I don't even know if you can make it smaller and lighter than that. That's what I'm using. I haven't really range tested it, but for what I intend to use this quad, for racing or pretty, close proximity, I'm not overly concerned. I'm pretty sure it will be okay. Just make sure you set your fail safe. Mine drops off the air when it loses signal. Modes, see, there you go. I still use angle. Uh, I just put that as a insurance if I do end up in a bind in certain scenarios or situations. I could easily flip to angle mode, stabilize the quad. But I primarily fly on air mode. Again, as I mentioned, two switches, aux1, aux2. That's how I configure all of my quads. Motors, nothing much done here, but if you're gonna calibrate, again, there's a process on how to do that. If you you want to calibrate on Betaflight, also there's other ways to calibrate your motors, but this is where I do it. And that's about it for Betaflight. Again, if you like what you just watched, please do click like or share the video, or better yet, subscribe to my channel to so that you get notification of future videos. Again, this two-part series is about the Q-Carbon 130 millimeter that I got from snhobbies.com. Thank you.